Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Chapter 33. Cole bolted out of bed. The noise of a siren warning sound pierced his ears and he threw on his pants and slipped on his boots. He tucked the laces inside, not bothering to tie them. Monroe was absent, but he kicked at Chappie. "Get up," Cole insisted. "Oh, what now?" Chappie asked curiously. Cole didn't respond. Bursting through the tent flap, he ran into Al and Rydell coming to get him. "What's going on?" he wondered curiously. Chappie appeared behind him, buttoning up his pants. "We've been robbed. The bastards killed Chavez and Ricardo." Al spat angrily. Monroe approached quickly, asking, "Did you see which way they went?" Ginger said she saw people running to the camp outside town. Cole looked bewildered by the news. "But we fed them. We're helping them." "What's up with that?" Chappie wondered out loud. His face fuming red, Al declared, "I say we go shoot the bastards." A sleepy Barry King approached, asking, "What happened here, boys?" Al's anger continued to increase as he explained again. "They robbed us blind. We're going to find the thieves." He gripped his rifle tightly and a fierce look of determination filled his eyes. "Why don't you keep these people calm here, and we'll go handle this," Cole suggested, not wanting the situation to get out of hand. "They have every right to be pissed. What's left won't last us 2 weeks, Al explained. "We're all headed for that fucking camp unless we can recover those supplies." "Al is right. We have the upper hand," Rydell concurred. "And do what? Create a bloodbath in the streets? People are going to die here today, Rydell," Cole warned. "We have to find that food, Virgis. We're dead without it. I don't want to live in a refugee camp," he pleaded. Scared of the desperation he saw unfolding, Cole warned, "I swear, if any of you go starting problems before you give me a chance to settle this..." Al looked offended, countering, "That's how it's going to be, Virgis?" Defending his friend, Monroe interjected calmly, "Al, Virgis is right. He's the best interrogator I've seen. Give him a chance to get information before you go do something you may regret." "Fine, but take Rydell. You have 1 hour, and then we're coming for our stuff," Al assured him. "There won't be a need," Virgis declared confidently. Walking toward the camp, Chappie told Cole, "I'm going to go check out the best plan of attack just in case things go south." "Be discreet," Cole cautioned. "Will do, sir." "Monroe, Rydell, you got my back?" "You know it, Virgis," Monroe confirmed, but Rydell looked scared out of his mind. "There's only 2 of us," he fretted. "Just follow my lead," Monroe ordered. "Attitude is 9/10 of winning the battle." "Barbara, where's Peter?" Cole asked directly as they approached the refugees. She looked at Cole nervously, and her voice shook as she replied, "He's in with Rachel. What happened?" "Some of your people robbed us, and I need to talk with Peter now," Cole barked. "I'll go watch Rachel and send him out." She got up from the table and quickly moved toward the building. The noise of the camp increased as the people whispered about what would happen next. "Something is up, Virgis," Monroe whispered to him. You could hear it in her voice, Cole agreed, watching Peter approach. "What can I help you with, Virgis?" Peter wondered innocently. "I think you know exactly why I'm here," Cole accused. "It wasn't us," Peter rebutted. "Barbara told you?" Cole wondered. "A large group of our people left last night. They didn't want to go to Vegas," Peter explained. "You knew they were leaving? Did you know they were going to rob us on their way out?" "I knew they were leaving, but I didn't know they intended to rob you," Peter said defensively. "What did you think they would do? We fed you and treated your injured, and this is how you repay us?" Cole asked. "Just because we were walking together doesn't mean we knew each other. I just met those people a day before that. How was I supposed to know what they had planned? I heard them discussing leaving, but that's it. I swear," Peter insisted. "This town is screwed. They took everything. Everyone will be going to the camp, Virgis explained. If 2 truckloads are all you had, you were probably screwed anyway, Peter explained, trying to console him. How did you know how much was there? Cole inquired. Peter looked guilty and quickly tried to explain. You just said, I said they took everything, not how much we had. You're lying, Cole accused. Peter stumbled. Like you didn't know they robbed us blind, Cole continued. Tell me, Cole commanded. They went south. Mark said he was headed to Mexico, Peter explained, knowing he was caught in the lie. Crap, Cole cursed, knowing they would be hard to track if they made it across the border. Peter hung his head in shame. I'm sorry, Virgis. I tried to stop them, but what was I going to do? Cole looked at him curiously. Alert security? Come tell me? That would have been a good start. I couldn't. They said they would kill Barbara, Peter explained fearfully. Better they kill her than the people in that town. They're pissed, Cole explained, listening to the noise from the mob on the other side of the fence increasing. And they're coming this way, Monroe whispered to him. I tried to stop them, Virgis, Chappie assured him as he approached ahead of Al. Time's up, Virgis. They have our food, and we want it back, Al declared with his rifle ready. Let's just calm down, Cole insisted. Half of their group left to go to Mexico last night. It wasn't them. People drew their weapons and cocked them. They're lying, Virgis. Look around. They're all still here, Al insisted, looking out over the vast crowd. Peter shook his head negatively. No, people have been straggling in all day. Al was utterly infuriated. You're going to believe this crap, Virgis? He spat angrily. Peter, we're going to have to do a search to be sure. Line your people up, Cole insisted, knowing there was no other way to appease Al and this mob. Peter was utterly offended by the suggestion and knew his people would never do it. The hell you are! No one will go for that. Are we now guilty until proven innocent? You got that right. There is no more law, and if there was, you're the ones who broke it first, Al insisted. We're not responsible, and we will not be treated like this. Peter gripped his rifle tighter, and everyone seemed to grow tenser. Line up, now, Al insisted, lifting his rifle. Don't point that thing at me. I will defend myself, Peter insisted, pointing a pistol at Al. Whoa, 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 Cole cautioned. Let's slow down, boys. The crowd grew restless, and a man shouted, We want our food back! A man from the refugee squad replied, Then go chase the real thieves. You know where it is, the man from the town countered. Cole felt everything unraveling and feared the worst. Everyone settled down and returned. Cole was cut short as a pistol's bang drowned out the sound of the voices. Everyone seemed to pause for a moment before a woman began to scream and people started to flee, running for cover. Bullets ripped through flesh as the weapons broke the stalemate. People cried out in pain while others screamed with the fury of war. Retreating to a safe space, Cole told the boys, This is not going to end well. We have to back up Al, Monroe advised, watching the man leading the townspeople. Cole nodded. Let's do it, boys. Round up the refugees. Monroe and Chappie replied affirmatively, and Rydell volunteered. I can help. We have to flank them and expose their weak side. Come on, Monroe instructed. The 2 men quietly slipped off to the right as the gunfire continued. Let's break the line on the left side, Cole suggested. Cole slowly advanced toward the refugees, signaling for Chappie to move forward. His eyes were locked on Peter, knowing that if he could take out the leader, he could end the battle. Quietly, he slid past fighters trying to conceal himself without having to kill anyone else. His feet crunched on the ground as he approached behind Peter. The man went to turn around, but Cole grabbed a hold of him and put his pistol to Peter's head. Peter, it's over. Call your people off. Peter had no choice with the barrel of Cole's pistol burrowing into his head. He called loudly to his people, Put your guns down. He pointed to another one of the leaders. Max, put your gun down. The shooting slowed as people realized what was happening and finally stopped. Put your guns down, Peter instructed. The refugees did as they were told and relinquished their weapons. Blood stained the ground, and people screamed in pain as others began to move about to help them. Line up against the building. Monroe, zip ties. Chappie, medical triage, Cole directed. Yes, sir, they replied formally, remembering their former jobs readily. Cole released Peter into Rydell's care as Monroe tied his hands together. None of this had to happen, Peter. I told you it wouldn't end well, Cole barked at him. Suddenly screaming echoed across the crowd as flames ignited from the strip mall. Peter squirmed in his bonds, panicking. They lit the building on fire! Rachel! Barbara! Get some water on that building, people, Cole shouted, watching the fire burn. Don't you move, sir, Rydell warned as Peter struggled to get away. Get off me, he insisted with a grunt. The two men fought with one another until Peter got a hold of Rydell's pistol. A gunshot rang out, and Rydell fell to the ground, gripping his leg in pain. Peter pointed the gun at the boy. Rydell, Cole called, blasting a bullet through Peter's chest. Showing little concern for him, Cole instructed, Chappie, get a tourniquet on his leg. Monroe, get a team and get those people out of that building. The sound was terrifying, and the smell was unbearable as the injured people screamed and their bodies burned. Barbara appeared out of the smoke, shouldering her daughter. She delicately put the girl down, looking up and seeing Peter's dead body. She ran to the man in tears. Peter! Peter, no! You bastards! You killed him, she sobbed. Ma'am, he attacked us, Cole explained. He was just trying to protect us, Barbara insisted angrily. Saddened by the entire scene, Cole told her calmly, You need to focus on protecting your daughter, ma'am. No, Peter, no, Barbara cried. Barry approached somberly, telling Cole, Al is dead, Virgis. What are we going to do? We're leaving. Tell everyone to pack up. We're going to Vegas, Cole instructed coldly. What if people don't want to go? Barry wondered. If they stay, the soldiers will be back to round them up, he answered flatly. Okay, Barry agreed. I'll get them moving. Hello and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 431, season 15, episode 33. Hey, Chen, what's up?
Hey, chin's up, y'all.
Yeah, we're just, it's been an interesting afternoon, actually. So, yeah.
I've been playing HVAC, man.
Troubleshooting the system at the new house.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been, we actually got the trailer cover on it, which was a trick, you know. Man, Fletch got her done, though.
I have to do it myself on ours.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to step back one too many times and fall off the edge or something.
No, we didn't want to get on top of ours. We were just intimidated by it. Yeah. So we hooked a rope to it and then pulled it all the way across. Hey, man.
You were smarter than me. I dragged the whole thing up onto the roof, and then I tried to unfold it and kind of hop skitch over it so I don't step on it.
Right.
And then I work myself back so I don't paint myself into a corner so I can get back off the ladder. It's probably very entertaining to watch. But.
I'm loving the image. I thought the same thing. I'm like, our neighbors are probably going, wow, these guys are just something else.
I to throw the rope over, though. That's a much better concept.
We just took the tennis ball and then tied, a knot tied the rope around the tennis ball that's inside of the cover. That way you got a good grip on it, and just pull the rope over the top. And then
that's how my father-in-law would deskin a deer. Well, with a golf ball, he put a golf ball underneath the skin.
And
he tied a rope around it.
And
yep,
dragged
it right off.
That's a good idea too. See.
Yep.
More for your life.
There you go.
More for your life. Okay, Changing Earth
Squirrel.
Update. Squirrel right off the bat. So you can see what kind of a mood we're in tonight. We're in a squirrely mood. It was getting real in the green room. We were ready to start having some group violence going on. Yeah. Oh no, sharks of all kinds out there, man. Just sharks of all kinds. They're just circling the waters. Yeah. We got to be careful these days. So we're going to have the blooper episode coming up soon because the third block of season 3 just got done. So, of course, we've got some great bloopers from our performers. And I'm going to be working on getting some more of the performers on the show. There's some amazing talent that does voices for the Changing Earth podcast or the Changing Earth audio drama. If you guys didn't know, you can go check it out. I have all the performers listed, but there's some amazing people that do voices for that audio drama. So they're a wealth of information in themselves. So we're going to try and get some more of them. And most of them, a lot of them, from the prepper broadcasting community. Right. Yep. April coming up, going to be at the Patriot Homesteading Conference in Illinois. And then September is Prepper Camp. Those are the 2 biggies we have on the list. So I'll definitely be touting those up till the day we get to go. And I get to teach some amazing skills and have some fun. And yeah, it's going to be good.
You remember knees, not...
Knees, not nuts, baby. You can buy the shirt. Head on over and buy the shirt. Everybody's going to kick out of that one. Yep. Yeah. So... a little bit, we just heard Virgis, chapter 33. So last week they were overwhelmed by these refugees coming for help. Mm-hmm. And this week he wakes up to the security alarm. Yep, wouldn't you know? So they were robbed. My quote of the day from the story is, attitude is 9/10 of winning the battle. Yeah, that's what I teach in my self-defense class. So it's all about, getting confidence in yourself, getting confidence that you're strong, you got the skills, and that takes practice. So get out there and make it happen. So Virgis is like trying to control the chaos, right? You got...
He's like in the middle trying to push water, whirls of water.
Right? Yeah, which would be insanely... just something else, because you think about it with a lawless environment too, right? There's no policemen gonna show up and with their riot shields gonna put up a wall between the two forces. This is just straight.
Or there's no the people know that the cops aren't gonna show up, so that whole
mentality.
Yeah. They know that they don't have to behave. So they don't get in trouble with the police because there's no police.
There's no law. There's no, there's no repercussions at this point. So nothing to stop you from, besides your own moral convictions. Wow. That would just be, it's just not a world that we know here in America for sure.
Virgis just keeps trying to keep the peace, and he's constantly getting thrown in these crazy situations.
He does. He's just like, come on, because he's seen it, He's really been on both sides already. And it's weird to be in the position in the middle where you can see both sides. And I really feel that way with the insurance marketplace in California right now. You feel the pain of the customers, but you also see the side of the business. And you can't, so... Really hard position to be in. I feel for Virgis on that one. But he's in the middle of firearms. So.
Yeah, right.
Again,
gunpowder and solid projectiles.
Yes. So again, a totally different situation when you're standing in the middle. So. And then not to mention he just had all his stuff wiped out too. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, his house and stuff,
Yeah. It's you're really...
And he's that whole thing he's worried about is he going to be a refugee now?
Right.
Because he's not a land,
Yeah, his land's gone now.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've classed Arizona as the bad land, so nobody from there is going to be a landowner, really, So yeah, it's just it's kind of crashing down around him right now. And he's still trying to do his best to maintain that peaceful situation. So today we wanted to talk a little bit about controlling group violence, if that's possible. Because you got mob mentality that goes into work. And people in a crowd are almost like the keyboard warriors, where they think that, nobody's going to know it was me. So I can do this and like nobody's going to know it was me, right?
Yeah, the people that stoke the fires by like yelling stuff from inside the crowd and throwing stuff inside the crowd where, if that person was out on the sidewalk all by themselves.
They would never do that.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. And like that first shot, once that first shot goes, so it's like, you could be that person inside of there. When, if you have a good background rooted in faith, you're going to understand that there is somebody always watching you. So probably not the best idea. And nowadays, in our current society, we have professional agitators as well. So people that literally get paid to go out there and make the situation worse, which is something else. To even be able to find those ads on Craigslist and whatnot. I mean, how could you possibly we're going to have a peaceful protest, but we're going to pay a professional agitator to go out there and rile everybody up,
It's disgusting.
So planning ahead, right? First and foremost, we're all preppers. We're all into being ready to go for, it's just so much easier to weather the storm if you're been thinking about the storm before it happens, right?
Right.
Like, I got to get my flashlights all in this spot, and I got to have my, reserve water all in that spot. So when the storm comes, you're ready. Same type of thing.
And being ready for the event, you might help to keep the event from happening. Some of these events, right?
Right. And at least being able to keep your head cool when you might be tempted to join in with that mob mentality. So if you've already kind of thought through the situation, if this, if that, right? So definitely always want to plan. There's a cool article that I have, traveling through hostile territory. And in that article, we talked a lot about EDC kits that you can have in your car for in case you're in like these emergency situations, like you accidentally drove into a riot because you didn't know what was happening, right? You didn't check it before you left, that kind of thing. So just some of the highlights are, like a small flashlight. I have the icebreaker. It's a good self-defense piece. Of course, if you can carry, you're carrying. A whistle, because whistles are just always nice. They make a lot of noise if you're in trouble, and at least you get people's heads turning. Will they just be cameraing you with their cell phone? Well, I can't guarantee that won't happen, but and then a handcuff key. Handcuff keys are always pretty much essential in my thought process now, just because I know how easy it is to get a universal handcuff key. And if they have the locking mechanisms, if somebody abducts you and they have the locking mechanism on those handcuffs, it's so much easier to just have a key than with the paperclip. It's doable, but it's just so much easier with a key. So easy to carry, easy to get. They're like, you can get like 5 of them for like $5 or something on Amazon. It's super cheap. So I definitely recommend those. Some other things, a way of communicating with loved ones definitely is essential. Basics like energy bars, that kind of thing. But it's good to have something to protect your eyes. We've talked about this before. Safety goggles at the very minimum. Swim goggles, ski goggles, whatever is going to help.
Yeah, we did a show. And I started packing swim goggles after that.
Yeah, because they're just great. If people are spraying pepper spray, God, sometimes they're hurling, disgusting.
Because if you can't see, that kind of
Yeah.
Slows you down a bit.
Right? You don't want to get bleach
You got
in
that
your
on.
eyes.
Even if you're coughing and gagging, if you could see, you still got a little bit of a...
Yeah, and you might look like a weirdo, but you know what? Oh, well, you can see when, like, others can't. So
what does it matter? They can't see you.
Right? Yeah, get the little tinted ones. Yeah. So those are really good, though. And then a bandana, something you can tie around your nose and mouth.
I was trying to remember. Didn't we say you're supposed to soak it in something that helped?
Lemon juice, I believe.
Right, wasn't it? Yeah, because it helped mitigate the
like pepper spray and that. Yeah, help neutralize it. Yeah,
I thought that was awesome.
Yes. So, those are just good things. I mean, if you're like commuting in a city, communing with nature, and
and a riot breaks
out in the forest. No,
those darn squirrels.
Squirrel. No. So yeah, if you're commuting in a city, you better have some kind of EDC kit. Women and guys, you're wearing like the little office shoes, heels. Oh my gosh, you got. Well,
that was a thing. I know, like a lot of the city workers, they would wear like sneakers and stuff into work.
Yeah,
and switch their shoes. Like, the ladies would switch their shoes. Yeah,
right.
Which was good for a lot of reasons, right?
Yeah, even in like the snow weather, the cold weather, like we're having now. I mean, look at all the cars that were just like couldn't charge in Chicago. So you were gonna like drive your electric car to work, and all you put on were your heels, and now your car is like done, not taking a charge, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, you better have some other shoes. So, always a good idea.
I always tried to wear shoes when I was in an office that were athletically
office appropriate, yet comfortable,
but athletic.
Yeah,
and then a lot of times I would have spare shoes stashed at the office, so just in case.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea. Definitely a good idea. Even like extra clothing, that kind of thing. So as far as clothing, you definitely don't want to stick out at all. Like, you don't want to be in like a MAGA hat in the middle of in the middle of Antifa or something. There's a time and a place, guys. And if you're just the one in the middle of a mob, you don't want to be that one in the middle of a mob. Not a good idea. You better be self-defense.
Gray is a good color.
Right. Yes.
The gray man is a good color concept.
Just have a gray sweatshirt or something with you.
Or match whatever
exactly.
The dress is of wherever you're trying to.
Like the police can see too that you're not in the same outfit attire as most of the other protesters, yet the protesters don't see you as being that off of what they're in. So that's why I say gray is really good. It's the gray man,
I love in the movies where the people always have like a two-sided jacket or sweater or whatever. And they like flip it around.
Switch it. Yeah. We actually, when I was part of the survival, I was doing a survival training program. We were like in the city and trying to trail somebody, and we all had our own like little section of the town, and we had to see like when they entered our section and write it down and follow them around what they did, and when they entered exited our quadrant, and then we all compared notes at the end. Very cool exercise. And one of the chicks that we were following, she did that. She went into a store and like switched her hat, turned her jacket out the other way and everything, and then tried to like walk out with a group of people. But we saw her split off, and we were like, oh. So it was fun. Good exercise to do. Give it something to think about. Okay, squirrel again. Right. But having having options is a great idea. And that all comes in the planning part, right? You never know when this is going to happen. Right. If I have to like go into Dallas because I'm taking somebody to the airport, you can bet my EDC kit is going to be a larger preparation item for me when I'm going there rather than when I'm going 5 minutes into my town,
Right.
It's still important to be ready wherever you are. I have the one that I carry all the time, but I'm going to carry a little bit more when I'm going into like a city like Dallas, and if you live there, you need to be ready all the time,
But it's amazed me over the past few years where this stuff like sparks up. I mean, some of these small towns are having demonstrations that it really blows my mind.
Yeah, and one of the articles that I was reading about where they're housing a lot of the illegal aliens that are coming in is they're actually putting up like housing places in rural areas. So that means that you're not going to be immune just because you're in a rural area. You know, you still need to be thinking about it. And women, guys, you got to be thinking self-defense at this point. Like, we have just been so cushioned by our society to not, like, we're secure wherever we go. It doesn't matter. And you can see it happening in Germany. Like, their sexual assault rate is skyrocketing.
I was just thinking about, look at Europe and,
right?
And the assaults on women in Europe because of immigration.
Right.
And just plan ahead.
I mean, those immigrants are coming from a different reality.
Yeah.
And it's like letting the wolf loose inside of, you know, the hen house where all the hens have been, you know, have been pampered and held, and the dogs lick them and whatnot. And I mean, sorry for my analogy there, but it's true, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just don't think about that here. We're safe. We have our law enforcement. Well, guess what? You better start thinking about it. You better be self-defense ready. Get out to one of my classes. We'll start on it. Get into a martial arts school. There's so many martial arts schools. You can find one that fits in your area. So just really, now is the time. It's not going to get any better for a while until we can get this under control. So, okay, major squirrel. All right, so another way of controlling mob mentality and violence in a situation is by making connections. So it helps people understand where you're coming from, but that's more of like a personal level. I'm also thinking, like, if you had a group of 7 people, say you were going out to dinner, that kind of thing, because we talked a lot about how to survive riots with Ben Brennan in another article that I did. Let me pull the name of it. It's called Crowd Control. It was back when we were doing Dark Days in Denver. And he talks about like how to move through crowds and that, but at least if you have a group of people, you can stick together and protect each other.
Right.
I've been in a riot situation and I'm very little, right? So it's very easy for me to get lost in the crowd. So being able to just, connect hands, hang on to belts, that kind of thing, so that as we're moving through, we all stick together is really, really important. Hopefully you could talk sense to people, but I'm concerned in that mob attitude, right?
And some of this is the environment too. Like if you're in a work related violence scenario, that making a connection is probably a lot more useful. Or like in a domestic squabble, like if you're in an apartment building and there's a domestic squabble or something, making the connect, like getting the person out of the red zone and seeing the other individuals as people, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And you could talk with them more rationally, because once they go red, that once they're seeing red, it's hard to rationalize
with them
valuable conversations.
Because they just go on the defense, then everything's an attack, and
everything's the emotion. Like it's all emotion.
It's
just raging emotions.
Yeah. That's a hard one to overcome. It takes a lot of
The bigger
faith.
the group, though, it's the harder that's going to be. I mean, if you're in a mob out in the streets, I don't know.
Right, how to talk them down, and I don't even know if it's worth it.
Because you're going to become the target.
Yes.
If you're not in a large group and you're trying to talk them down, you're going to become the target.
Yep. Look at
you made an example of
what happened with the kid, and he was trying to talk him down, and he became the total target. That kid up north that had to defend himself.
Right,
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, Kyle.
Right.
Yep.
He's trying to do the right thing in the right time, and you just become that target. And especially when you're alone. So that would be something I would I would make sure I'm with my group, and if you're by yourself, you got to just get yourself out of there.
Yeah.
You just got to get yourself out. That's where you just have your EDC kit, start working your way to the edge, go with the flow, but also moving to the edge all the time.
Yeah.
Another thing that Ben said was like, throw yourself at a cop. Right. Like you might get beat a little bit by the cop, but at least they're going to like grab you and pull you into the other. Yeah. You're going to be put into another group, where you can be like, hey, I'm sorry. I just wanted safety,
Yeah.
So
then you could sort it all out after. At least you're not in the streets anymore.
Right. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time already. So, I mean, okay. So stay calm and control yourself. I like that one because, and that's part of planning. That's part of know of like, okay, I know what to do. I don't want to get involved in this. Or maybe you were involved in it. Maybe you did come as a peaceful protest and now it's escalating to a place that you don't want to be in.
Right.
Yeah. So because I really believe that peaceful protest is good. We need to do that. We need to let the people's voices be heard, but we don't need to be blocking traffic. We don't need to be causing property damage. There's all kinds.
It goes against your cause.
Right. It just makes you look really bad.
Bad, yeah.
And if you're in a situation where you came to peacefully protest and now it's turned into something that maybe I don't want to be a part of this anymore, the ability to stay calm and control yourself is going to be essential to get yourself out of there before, things go to the point where you're not comfortable with it anymore. So that's a really good one. I think that goes back to planning a lot. If you haven't planned, then it can just kind of slip.
It's hard to stay calm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're just like, oh no, I didn't realize it was going that way. So,
but if you already have it's like that muscle memory. If you already have some scenarios played out that if this happens, you're going to do this, then it's easier to calmly roll into that scenario as opposed to like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do?
Yeah. Oh no, we need to plan B it. And I hadn't thought about that.
Then you're wasting time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're getting excited, and that can help, like, oh, well, I'm just going to go with it now because we're already here. Like, nope, you still got the choice. You always have a choice. All right, so asking questions. On a personal level, you ask questions like, why are you so upset? What is going on? Let's get to the root of the situation. This one's tough, even on a personal level.
This is more small group.
Yeah, it's tough even because some people like to go away angry.
Yeah.
And then they sort it out in their own head before they can come back and even answer questions. Like sometimes if you hit people with this too hard, too fast, they're going to just, like you say, they're already in the red zone.
Right.
And
I the article was saying a lot of times arguments spiral out of control and lose focus on what it was originally being discussed. What sparked it. So if you could stay pointing in a direction and try to resolve the issue as opposed to just getting
right. And even Virgis in our story, that's what he's what happened.
He's always doing.
How did he's the interrogator, right? So he's always trying to get to the bottom, figure out the information that's relevant so that they can make an informed plan. And that's really what you've got to be doing, what's the next plan? And asking questions of people within the mob. Maybe you can get other people to kind of realize hey, what are we doing now? What's going on with that? Why are we doing that? Oh, okay. That sounds good for you, but maybe not for me. I'm going to start dancing myself
towards
the
divided
edge.
Up a little bit.
Yeah.
So they're not this big blob of angriness.
Of some people are like, oh no. And then if other people realize that everybody is not on board for doing something violent, maybe that part of the mob can overtake the mob that is violent. I've seen that happen before, where people are like, no, stop that. To those people, that would be the outliers. Or the professional agitators, right? I
was just going to say, we had talked about the professionals, being bussed in. You might be able to get the people, the peaceful protesters, to see that they're being,
manipulated.
duped. Yeah.
of like, hey, how good of an idea is that? And yeah, you do put yourself at that risk. I'd make sure you have a group with you who's like, because you need to be able to stand tall and protect each other. So, right time and place. What can you do to, is it worth making that difference? You got to weigh the risk versus the reward. All right. So reflecting back, again, really good for interpersonal, to reflect back on what people have been saying. Like you said, you can squirrel off really easily. It's like, no, your key points were this, that, and this. Our current goals going to solve this, that, and this. Are we still on point here? So I do see that as a focus item. And it could work in a mob mentality because you're like, hey, we came out here to be peaceful. Right. Make people start thinking about their actions, that kind of thing.
Right. We were trying to, affect change. Is this going to help us, kind of thing?
Right.
What are we really here to do today?
All right. And then last on our list, positive language. I agree again, because you don't want to be the one who is using any kind of talk that would fire people up even more.
Yep.
Right? If you're out for a peaceful protest, it's because you have a plan, you want certain things addressed. And I always just challenge people to like, how can you rephrase that in a more positive way? How can we keep the light shining? I went to Montessori school, so it was always like, you don't call somebody an a-hole. You say you're acting like an a-hole. And that way you are not like putting that blame onto somebody, but rather showing them like, hey, you could be acting differently than you are right now. So, I don't know, even in an argument, like if somebody's being too positive, you just see it as like, shut up. Right? Yeah. You're just being a jerk now, really. Like,
just want to pop you in the nose.
Yeah. Especially like my husband and I are arguing about something and he starts going off with that. I'm just going to be like, whatever. You're just acting like a turd now. Forget it. You're not even listening to me anymore. So I would dance with
Tell
that
Brock
one.
to call me if he needs support.
Yeah. No, we communication is the key, like you say, even at the beginning. That's the key to everything, and really the key to not getting in one of those giant arguments is being able to communicate clearly through whatever emotions, because they're just emotions. And you're probably going to look back in 80 years and be like, wow, did that really matter at all? No. So why did we care? Why were we fighting about it? Alrighty. Let's go ahead and get into some changing Earth news. I'll go ahead and throw some music up. Fast day. We had a long read today. So. All right, changing Earth news. I just like doing it that way. I don't know. I'm weird. We got a solar flare inbound. It should not be too scary, but we should see some good
Talk about crazy
activity.
People in the streets.
Yeah, I know. Yes, that is a valid point. I'm going to have to gear up for that. It's supposed to hit tomorrow. So, Monday, it'll be just great at work. Bunch of crazies. I'm feeling the solar radiation and I can't take it anymore. It's funny to watch. But it was really cool, actually. If you guys want to go check out some suspicious observers for today, it was a really beautiful plasma release that happened. It was a pretty gorgeous sun event. And Ben from Suspicious Observers was on the Tim Pool show.
Huh.
Yeah, like a 2-hour live special. It was like one of the best, most downloaded. So I'm so excited that he's getting more mainstream platforms to listen to his theories, because so many of the studies that we do today, they don't even take the sun into account on like what's happening with our planet. Like, could you imagine a bigger driving force than the sun on the earth? I mean, hello. So, yeah, so I'm so excited that he's getting more mainstream attention. That is awesome, because that's the only way we can really prepare as a society for what's coming and expect to like hold on to any type of civility through the event. Also, they found like one of the biggest oil reserves on Titan, which is a moon of Saturn. And how many dinosaurs and forests do you think were on Titan?
I don't know.
Right? Like, I wouldn't assume any, because it's pretty far away from the sun. So, are they really fossil fuels? We
need to start a space tanker company.
We're
going to be moguls, Sarah.
Right? I know.
Rolling in.
Dude, we're going to hook up with Musk, and we're just going to be out there. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I couldn't leave the earth. But yeah, so I mean, how much do we really know? I'm gonna say nothing. We just think we know a whole lot. So back to the drawing board on all that stuff for them. All right, so let's jump into some serious Earth news. On the 15th, there was 383 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.4 in Russia. Reunion Maritas got hit by the tropical cyclone, 105-mile-an-hour winds, heavy rain, flooding. 100 vehicles in the capital city alone just annihilated, floating down the road, destroyed. 2 people did die in that event, unfortunately. So that was a big tropical cyclone that smashed right into the island. That island is off of the western coast of Africa, if you're curious. In the United States, western New York got hit with 2 feet of snow over the weekend before the 15th. They had 60-mile-an-hour winds rolling through there. There's a travel ban issued. Buffalo Airport got 8.6 inches of snow, breaking a record. And unfortunately, 3 people did lose their lives in that event. Also,
8.6 inches?
8.6 inches. Yeah.
In how much time?
Over the weekend. So it would have been like
that's not that much snow. 8.6 inches or feet?
It said 8.6 inches.
Inches is
yeah, that's true. It would be small amount, huh?
I had the winter that I left the Northeast.
All right, we're Googling
3
now.
snowstorms over a foot.
Let's see. Buffalo, New York.
It had to be more than, unless it was like in a short time period.
Let's see if I wrote it down wrong.
I mean, they get nasty snowstorm, lake effect snows off of the.
That's what it was. Lake. It was a giant lake effect that came in. Oh no, you're right. 8.6 foot. You're right. Yeah.
No, that's a snowstorm.
Yep. Because they dig out from 6 feet.
Inches, they don't even. They're running around in flip flops and 8 inches of snow.
All right. Good way to go, fact checker.
Fact checker.
Fact checker. See, mainstream media. Don't worry about our show. We've got fact checkers. We're on.
Sarah wants to make sure I'm paying attention, not playing video games.
Yeah, in the background. Florida got hit by 2 tornadoes. One in St. Lucie, one in Martin counties. 2 more Florida tornadoes, which is like, I've never heard of so many tornadoes in Florida ever. I don't know the history of it. You gotta look that one up. And then also another tornado hit in Argentina in the province of Chaco. Property damage, nobody passed away, but there was some severe property damage from that tornado coming through. On the 16th, there was 426 earthquakes or 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.1 in Indonesia. In Turkey, there was flooding pretty massively. Argentina also had a massive storm that engulfed Uruguay as well. Power outages and flooding. In the Philippines, Mindano Island, there was a massive flooding event happening there with landslides. 7 people, unfortunately, lost their lives in one of the landslides that landed on top of a home. It was 5 children and 2 adults that passed away, and then 10 more people were missing. In Chile, they have 7 major forest fires burning. In Maui, San Javier, that's where the worst of the fires is. 2 communities are threatened. And 1 firefighter, unfortunately, lost his life when his plane clipped a power line. And then it went across the road, and 2 automobiles were in the wreck as well. On the 17th of January, there was 393 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 6.4 in Tonga. In southwestern Brazil, they had a wild storm. It was the same one that hit Argentina and Uruguay the day before. Hit them in 1 hour alone. They had 2.7 inches of rainfall, which caused flooding. The roofs had been pulled off a lot of the businesses and homes from the wind. So they had power outages and all kinds of good fun down there. In northwestern United States, they had an ice storm. So we're talking western parts of Washington and Oregon, including Eugene, got hit with this storm. 85,000 people without power. I wonder if JB's listening, if she was feeling that. Feeling the chill from the storms. I know we are over here still. So Oregon got it as well. 2 people did die. Power line fell on their car, and they think that when the people got out of the car, they got electrocuted. So that's just crazy. That would suck. Prayers for their families. In southwestern Canada, they also got hit by that same storm. BC took it hard. Vancouver, they had to cancel a bunch of flights. And 1 person died. He was walking down the highway, and he got hit by the snowplow. So that sucks. But in eastern Syria, they had some serious flash flooding, lots of refugee camps. They're only tents, and they got annihilated by the flooding situation down there. A lot of those are refugees from when that earthquake hit Turkey and hit Syria. So not the best, sequence of events for those people there. On the 18th, there was 393 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 6.4 in Tonga. Heavy rain and flash flooding happening in Sydney, Australia, and they're also keeping their eyes on a cyclone that's getting ready to head towards Queensland, Australia. So heads up on that one, guys. That one's supposed to be coming like middle of the week. In the northwestern part of the United States, they've seen a ton of rain in Northern California. Humboldt County had to issue a local emergency declaration due to flooding there. And also there's been historic flooding on the East Coast as well, from Boston to Cape Ann. Cape Ann? Cape Ann. On the 19th, there was 382 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.6 in Colombia. There was a 5.1 earthquake that hit Azerbaijan, did some damage over there, and a 5.7 earthquake that hit Colombia. The Dominican Republic of Congo has seen the worst flooding that it has seen in 60 years. 1.8 million people have been affected by the flooding there. 350,000 people are in need of life-saving aid. In Montana, they're having ice jams causing flooding. The ice is just flooding up rivers and stuff and causing those rivers to overflow, causing flooding there. And all of Northern California is really much just getting annihilated by a rainstorm right now. On the 20th, there was 374 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 6.6 in Brazil. Luckily, it was a very deep earthquake, so it didn't cause a lot of damage on top, which is very good. There was a 5.3 in the interior area of Alaska. So usually we see the Aleutian Islands getting lit up by earthquakes. This one did happen on the interior part of Alaska. There's a 4.6 earthquake that rocked Athens, Greece, and a 6.2 earthquake that happened down in New Zealand. And Mount Merapi in Indonesia has erupted again. They also have their eyes on another volcano there, actively evacuating people out of the area because it's making so much noise. On the 21st, there were 361 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.4 in Argentina. There was a 6.3 in Western Brazil. Same thing. Nice deep earthquake. 5.6 in Eastern Colombia and a 6.2 in the Mariana Islands. Also a 5.4 in Argentina. So, man, the earthquake activity is getting just kicking up right now. I'd assume it's due to a lot of the solar activity that we're seeing. And the solar activity is supposed to be back on the increase here in the next couple weeks. So we'll see what kind of activity starts coming our way. Also, with all that earthquake activity, you'd expect to see some more volcanoes erupting in the next couple weeks. But it's always good when we have deep earthquakes that release the pressure of our planet without doing a lot of damage on top. In the UK, Storm Isha hits with 90-mile-an-hour winds, tornado warnings across the island, thousands of people there without power. So they've just been getting walloped this winter with massive storms. And then Texas is also bracing for the next rain system that is inbound, supposed to hit us tomorrow. So it really hasn't warmed up. I think we had one day where it was a little bit warmer. But other than that, it's been so cold down south right now. As far as volcanoes, Campi Flegrei is still on the watch list. That's a super volcano that's over in Italy, so definitely keeping eyes on that one. The situation in Iceland has gotten worse. There are fissures actively opening in Grindavik now, and homes that are getting burned up and stuff like that. So pretty much what they were fearing is happening. It's just kind of a slow burn. So I don't know how much of the city will be lost or what the end result there will be. There are 27 volcanoes actively erupting on our planet. That's the same number as we had last week. There are 16 showing minor activity. That's down 1. And there are 33 showing unrest. That's up 1. Wildfire stats in the United States. 0 states are reporting because it is so dang cold and wet out there.
Nobody's going outside to check.
Yeah, that if it was burning,
there's a fire. Don't put it out.
Yeah, just let it go so we can stay warm.
That's bad.
So no, it is bad. But there you go, guys. All right. So I'm almost done putting together the last part of season 3 of the Changing Earth audio drama. We're going to pick an air date soon. I'm just not close enough to do that yet, but we're almost there. Of course, go over and listen to all of the episodes over at ChangingEarthSeries.com. Become a subscriber. Really appreciate the help. I'm trying to travel more, and I'd really don't want to have to charge people for doing this self-defense and the anti-kidnapping and sexual violation classes that I do. So the more subscribers that I have, the more help I get through the website, the more of a reality I can make that. And so I added another event this year, and we'll just see what I can do as far as, getting the word out to as many people as possible, getting as many people as possible self-defense ready and knowledgeable of how to protect their loved ones, their grandkids, that kind of stuff from all the threats kind of swirling around these days. So I really, like I say, I don't want to have to put a paywall up there. I just don't think that is fair to charge people to learn how to defend themselves when, some of the, financially struggling people, that's your biggest risk right there. So, right? So I don't want to do that. So the more subscribers I get, the better. www.changingearthseries.com. Really appreciate everything you guys do, and hopefully we'll see maybe Day After Disaster on the big screen soon. We're still pushing along, so we'll see what we can get. But love doing the show. Thanks, Chen, as always, for joining me. Just with everything that's facing us.
Did you hear the the interpreter commander said we're like siblings on the show.
Right.
It's one of his daily things. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, pretty much it.
That's it. Yep. My brother from another mother.
That's the chemistry right there.
So true. So true. It's like, I got your back. You got my back, but I'm going to call you out. Yep.
Yeah, pick on you. Pick on me.
That's right.
Don't nobody else try it.
That's right. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for the great show. Thanks for listening. And until next time, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster, Without Land, The Walls of Freedom, Battle for the South, Dark Days in Denver, and The Endless Night at www.authorSarahFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series and podcast, become a supporter while you're there.